Good afternoon, everybody. It's Dr. John Michael Salvato, your organic living and peak performance coach. And I will apologize right up front today. I am probably going to be taking mental health day for the rest of today. And so I will ask that we keep today's session to about 25, 30 minutes because I am honestly and truly about spent emotionally and mentally and intellectually and everything else. Last night I was asked to host a support group for people who are grieving in the wake of Saturday night, Sunday morning's massacre. And it turned out that the person who asked me to do that was setting me, and I thought, wow, and they asked me to do it on Blab, and how cool is that? There are some people who know how to use Blab in the world, and this was some hater who showed up right before we started recording and said, all of you faggots deserve to die. And that was it. And then he blocked me on Facebook, blocked me on Twitter, so I couldn't even lash out back. And I sat there for 15 minutes last night with no one. All these people that I thought were coming were not affected by the events. But I spoke for 15 minutes, and I made the decision that tonight I'm going to do the same exact thing on Google Hangouts, and I will be there for people if people need me. And if they don't need me, that's not a big deal. I've only wasted 15 minutes of time. But if they need me, I'll be there for as long as they need me. So the reason I share that story is because today's focus was on a concept that my friend Del Sesto calls discover, deliver, repeat, and he uses that as a sort of a mantra for his daily method of operation, because all of life is a discovery, and curiosity is the root of peak performance. And so I like, there's an expression that he uses, and I should remember it. He talks about the velocity of curiosity, and that's what the greater the velocity of your curiosity in your life, the greater the results you're going to see in your life, and that applies to every aspect of your lives, from your business to your personal relationships to your spiritual relationship to your health. The velocity of your curiosity determines the results that you receive. So when we think about this, this is talking about it fits exactly spot in with servant leadership, because the formula is discover, deliver, repeat. And so what would happen in your life if every person, if every person that you came in contact with, we'll say for the next 48 hours, if when you met that person, you made a decision that you were going to discover whatever point of pain, whatever need that person might have, and that from the point of discovery, then you set out to deliver some sort of solution for that person. And if you did that every single time, every single person that you met, discover what you could do to serve them, deliver that service, and then repeat. I promise you that I remember hearing that from Del, from Dean, some years ago, and there was a challenge that was made that for the next, I think it was a 36-hour challenge, and for the next 36 hours we were going to keep a journal. And every time we met somebody, when we walked away from that encounter, we were going to jot in the journal that person's name, what we could do to serve them, and we were going to challenge ourselves to make sure that we delivered that within 36 hours. And I've got to tell you, I hadn't thought about that exercise until last night. That was a really powerful 36-hour exercise. And I've always prided myself to be somebody who lives a life of by most standards, peak performance. But let me tell you, in those 36 hours, that peak performance was really kicked up a notch because there was a time limit on it. And so I want to share that with you guys because that was a unique thing for me. I had never I never put a restriction of time on my service to other people and said, I'm going to do this in a certain period of time. So last night, the individual who thought they were being snarky by telling me that, yeah, we have a group of people who would like you to counsel them, and then who showed up on that event on Blab only to tell me that all of you faggots deserve to die. That person had a mental illness, had a mental problem, but I made a commitment that I was going to be there every night this week at 8 o'clock for those who needed to talk. Now, as it turned out last night, thank goodness, there weren't a lot of people that came to the Blab. There was only one other person who came last night, and this person ran them off. But I'm grateful that there weren't people who lost loved ones, who would have to be exposed to that kind of violence by somebody who set the entire thing up because he thought or she thought that it was going to be clever to get on there and spam the sidebar with you faggots deserve to die, and then block me on Facebook and everything else. So they're cowards. But my point was, the reason that I continued was because I made a commitment that I was going to do what I could to alleviate suffering, and that I was going to, even if nobody showed up, that I would take 15 minutes and offer just some insight on how to move through this grieving process. In my work with HIV and AIDS, organizations, I've had 108 people die in my arms, and so I understand the grieving process. I understand the impact that has on every aspect. All of those six dimensions of wellness get affected. They get pulled in. And so I can, if nobody shows up, I can offer one little idea every night, like I do here during the day, just to kind of help somebody make that process a little less lonely, a little less desperate, a little less, it's a little less frustrating. Because in this particular situation, as we find out new details every day, including the fact that the doors were barricaded, that several of our friends who were survivors said that there was not one shooter, there were 3 shooters, that this is looking more and more like a dirty story. This is not what the media is portraying it to be. This has become an emotional process that interrupts my grief, and I'm sure many other people's grief, because the anger then arises. And I want to know who the people were, and why were the doors barricaded from the inside so that people couldn't get out until their job was done? Why did they pick that bar? Why were my friends killed? And who was really behind it? And so those sorts of things, those sorts of emotions are a roller coaster. And so that's recognized as that's the discovery process, discovering where the point of need is. Now, delivering the solution. Now, and we'll take this to a lighter topic. I apologize that I was using my personal frame of reference there. But let's say you're talking to somebody and they have another kind of problem. Now, your solution for them might very well be the products or services that you offer. Your solution might be to connect them with your spiritual path, whatever spiritual organization you're with. Or your solution might be to connect them to another friend. So there might be some personal connection, some personal gain or personal benefit, or a feeling of, feeling good by making that connection, offering that solution. Your solution might not, however, have anything to do with your personal gain. If you're genuinely present for that person, the best solution for them might be another resource that you know. That's why we stay married to the process and divorced from the outcome. So I'm discovering where your point of pain is, and I know that I don't have anything that can solve that problem. For example, there was a gentleman who was going through chemo and definitely needed to get some green juicing done, and he doesn't have a Ninja or one of the types of blenders like we have, he doesn't have a means of really making that spinach and kale and stuff into a pulp, and he can't swallow very well. So the solution, now my company doesn't have a product like this, but I knew other products that he could get that were high auric value, deep green nutrition drinks, and that didn't contain any of the harmful ingredients or synthetics or sorbitol or anything like that. So the best solution wasn't to say, well, let's find something similar to that in my company. The solution that he needed was dark green vegetables, and so that meant referring him to a different product. Sometimes the solution is going to be something you don't have in your resource tool. It might be a product you don't know anybody who sells, you don't know where they can get it, but if you're committed to this process of discover, deliver, repeat, then the delivery compels you to do a little bit of homework. There's nothing is going to get lost in your day if you spend 10 or 15 minutes doing a search online to try and help somebody solve a problem in their lives. And so that's kind of what I make the guideline for myself when I find something that I can't personally fix, unless it's something that's critical and urgent, that really that I'll spend as much time as I have to help that person. If it's a minor problem, they're not going to die tomorrow from it. I will spend 15 minutes doing research for them, because sometimes people don't know how to use, they don't think of using YouTube or Google or any of the other resources that I use on a daily basis. So it takes no time to jump in there, look up the information for them and send it to them. And quite often it takes less time than sending them an email and saying, hey, why don't you go look on YouTube? And then they say, well, what do I look under on YouTube? And I tell them what. And well, I see a lot of different things on here. What do you think? It's just easier just to do that work for them. Go in there, find what they want, and then say, here, go take a look at this. And while you're there, you'll notice on the sidebar there's lots of other choices. So if this wasn't the best choice for you, feel free to dig in there. Now I've just empowered them, but I also didn't spend an hour of my time on a minor problem that somebody else is having, that they may or may not be interested in my solution. So I've lost nothing if I invest 15 minutes of my time. I lost 15 minutes, and chances are pretty good. If you didn't know the solution, you had to go in there and do research, you didn't waste that time, because now you have a solution. Now there's one more tool in your resource folder, or your resource tool belt, or whatever you want to call it. You've got one more resource in your bag of tricks to be able to help somebody when they have a similar problem in the future. So that's really all I could offer today. Again, I apologize that I'm a little scattered. I'm definitely taking the rest of the day off for a mental health day, because I can feel the impact of the past couple of days. And but the article is up on the blog, so you guys have a place to be able to comment there. But Ita and Jen, share with us a little bit about what your thoughts are as you see this. Or does this sound like something that's going to be useful in your, in your own practice, and whatever else you want to share?
It cracks me up that you use going to Google and going to YouTube, and my best friend actually nicknamed me Google, because my first response is, if I don't know it, I'll look it up. I drove people nuts when I worked at Chase, because I would sit there for 15, 20, 30 minutes trying to help people figure out what was going on with their accounts. And my managers are standing there going, 2 minutes, 2 minutes. Your calls are only supposed to last 2 minutes. I'm like, this is not a 2-minute problem. We got to fix this. We got to figure out what's going on. And I've just always been that person of, if I don't know, I'm going to look it up, because now I'll know. And it just cracked me up hearing you talk about Google and YouTube. And if I say I'll look something up, I will, because that's just how I am. That's actually how I met my husband, is because I was able to research things for the ghost hunting group we were in. And I was always the one who found the stuff so that we could go in with a little bit more information than the urban legends and goofy stuff like that. I just, with my blog now, I've actually asked people, it's like, okay, what do you want to know about? What do you want me to write about? What would help you feel better about your kids, about your life, about cleaning your house? And that's one of the reasons I post the stuff like Fly Lady and the recipes and all that kind of stuff, just to help people get a better grip on what's going on. Does that make sense?
Sure. Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you for that. And thank you for the service that you do in your blog itself, because that is a good example of how you can apply discover, deliver, repeat in a way for somebody who may be busy, may not be able to get out there into the community and be interacting with people because you got a family to take care of. You've got responsibilities. One great way is just to kind of be present when you're on Facebook, and instead of just looking for the great recipes, instead of just looking for the fluffy kitty pictures, just kind of get a sense of that pulse of the people with whom you interact. And if you see a bunch of moms saying, "Oh my God, I'm going to kill these kids. I just got done cleaning the house, and I came in from making dinner, and they have their shit all over the floor again. And why am I the only one who cleans up?" Those are the kinds of things that you can do what Jennifer does, and then post a blog about it. Get a feel for what the need is, get a feel for where the source of pain is for your audience, which might be moms, it might be entrepreneurs, it might be people trying to lose weight, it might be people that are trying to make extra money. Whatever that audience is that you engage with most, find a way to serve that community. And when you and that has nothing to do with selling your product. It has nothing to do with building your business. It's about finding a way to serve that community. Selling the products, excuse me, will take care of themselves. Recruiting people will take care of itself. You just have to find a way to serve that population. So, Ita, what are you thinking as you're watching and going through this stuff?
Well, I just came across Jen's blog about 3 or 4 days ago, so it's great. I love going into her blog and finding all her info in there. I didn't realize it was Jen at first, so it was funny how it happened. But yes, I had to do the switch actually, because I have a community page with a lot of moms. It's not a business page at all. And when I took over that page from another admin who couldn't do it anymore due to her bad health, I just thought, okay, this is a brilliant, because there's like 60,000 people on this page. So I thought this is a brilliant thing to sell my products. Immediately, that's what I thought. And for about 1.5 years, I got nowhere trying to sell products, because I was looking at it the wrong way. This was a community of women who wanted to find out about things, to deal with problems of life, to private message me so that I can put things up on the page if they're too afraid or too embarrassed to put up on, with their name attached to it, so that we can all help each other. It's a community where we all give encouragement and help to each other. And I completely stopped advertising on that page, and it's booming now. So even though I'm getting people saying, like yesterday I got a lady asking about if I could put up a question. She wanted to go for a tummy tuck, and she wanted to find out about the prices of the operation and the good and bad, the pros and cons, and everything else. Now that's what I do. But I thought, no, I'm not gonna sell. She's not asking for product. She's asking for information about the procedures that she wants to find out. And so I didn't try to sell. I didn't do anything. Her questions went up today, and she's now reading all the answers and everything else. And that's what it's about. I've had nearly 200 people join in the last 3 days, because I completely stopped selling on the page, and it was dead for nearly 6 months while I kept putting pictures up of product. So it's totally what you brought out today about trying to help people instead of trying to, even though I have the product, I still didn't want to be selling to her, because that's not the place she's at. That's not where she needs to be or what she wants to find out about. So yeah, so I love listening to all the ideas and hints now from today from you and
Right
Jen
on.
as well.
Well, and one of the things that I would recommend that you do is when I applaud the way that you handle that. And one of the things that I do when something like that happens is I'll either look for a testimonial I can share of somebody that we helped. For example, there's a gentleman who just had hip replacement surgery, a physician friend of mine, and I know that he's into natural health, and I know that that's his excuse me, that that's one of his passions. But I did not want to go certainly on his page, let alone on my own, and try and sell him when I was just encouraging people to be present for him, because that's a scary surgery. Once you're my age or older, um, you know, there's all kinds of risks involved, and so I just waited a couple days, and a few days later, I shared Craig's testimonial about his recovery from knee replacement surgery, and left it there. And my friend then commented on the post and said, "Hey, you know what? We're going to talk about this because I want to, I'm going to have a private conversation with you about this protocol for getting well." And he will. He was just home from the hospital when he posted that. Another time, I had a woman who had fibromyalgia, and she was asking questions on my Dr. Salvato page about fibromyalgia. She wasn't asking about product. I wasn't there to sell her product. I answered all of her questions, and then about 3 or 4 days later, I did a video talking about the benefit to people who suffer from neurological and autoimmune diseases from alkalize their body. And in the process of doing it, I still wasn't selling a product, but I said, at the end of the video, I always say, and that's why I think doing videos at least once a week is so important. At the end of my video, I said, if you're interested in exploring ways to naturally help your body to begin the alkalization process, we can help. And that's all you have to say. If you're interested in shedding inches from your waist and tummy, if you're interested in getting rid of what do you call it? What does it say? Lipoderm. Um, you know,
Excess flesh,
yeah,
excess skin.
excess fat. Then get in touch with me. We can help. And then
Yeah.
you leave it at that. You don't have to mention the product. You don't have to mention the wrap at all. You just say, we can help. Let them reach out to you, and then you can say, hey, there's a couple people that we've helped. You tell them story, three testimonials, and then say, and the best part about this is, it's a really simple, wrap system, and we have a, $25 trial or whatever the trial happens to be. I would love to be able to connect you, and give you a chance to try this out, because I know you're going to be pleased. So it's kind of a three-step process. It's a gentle process. It doesn't always work. Sometimes they're just, like you said, they're not ready. But sometimes it works very quickly because they really aren't looking forward to the pain and the expense of getting a tummy tuck done, and they really just want to get rid of cellulite. That's the word I was trying to spit out. They just want to get rid of cellulite. Really, it's the appearance of their body that they don't like. It's not, there are people who are just big bones, heavier set, and healthy. And then there are
Yeah.
people who look at their body and it looks like somebody beat them up with a tennis racket, and that's what they see is just that bumpily, ripply cellulite. And if you can help them to eliminate that cellulite and tighten and firm the skin, many times that's enough to just boost their morale. And next thing you know, they're moving more. They're getting out because now they're not so ashamed of their body. So now they're not afraid to pull on some clothes and go out and go to the market or walk around their neighborhood because they feel better about themselves. So that's why this works. Go ahead. What were you going to say?
I was going to say, yeah, I didn't. I was feeling a bit guilty that maybe I should say something rather than go through the pain of the operation about our products. And then I thought, no, she didn't ask about our products straight away, so I can put up an advert, or like you said, a video, if I do, about our products in a couple of days' time, because she's not
Sure.
having the operation right now, do you know?
Right.
But I did have the guilty feeling of her going through the whole, because I initially, before I started this business, was thinking of getting the money together for a tummy tuck, and that's how I came across the wraps, because I was afraid of the operation, and
Sure.
I began to research. So I felt a little bit guilty, but then I realized to do what you just said, which is in a couple of days' time, to do something that she might take notice of the
And
advert.
I wouldn't even put it on, in that particular case, especially with what you just shared, I wouldn't even necessarily post anything in a couple days. I would reach out to her in a day or so by private message and say, hey, I just wanted to reach out to you. I hope you won't take offense to this, but I was in, and share your story. I was in those shoes. I was trying to save up the money for a tummy tuck. And I was scared of the surgery, and so I started researching natural products, and then eliminate her objection and say, I know there's a lot of crap out there that doesn't work, and I didn't want to waste my money either. But let me tell you something that I found, and it really worked well for me, and it may be a solution for you. And don't say, and I can sell it to you. Just say, that this is how I became involved with this company, and I'm so honored to be helping so many people to get great results without surgery. I promise you,
Yep.
you tell her something like that, she's not going to get the surgery. She's going to be your customer.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So, okay, guys, we are at 2:32, and I thank both of you for being here, and I thank those who are watching. I have no idea how many of you actually do watch this video on the replay, simply because none of you bother to take the time to comment on the blog. Hint, hint. Um, See, we don't have to complain when you can just throw a little dig like that in once in a while. So, guys, I'm kidding, but I'm serious. This project is only going to give you what you put in, and these ladies show up every day. And I understand that some of you can't show up every day, that some of you are working during the day, you have other commitments during the day, but every single person that's part of this group, everyone who's listening to this, I should bring the camera back to me for emphasis, everybody who's listening to this can take a couple minutes a day to read a blog and post a comment. And I promise you, when people start doing that, you're going to see that by sharing, like you can share those blog posts on your Facebook wall. Make it something of value you're bringing to people, not me. There's share buttons all over there. You can share it on Pinterest. You can share it on Facebook. You can share it on Google+. But when you share it with your comments first. This is what this meant to me. This is what I got out of this. Because now you're delivering the value. And I promise if you do that, it'll work. I had many other plans for that blog and invested much too much money, apparently for this particular group into the development of that blog, because I thought I had really big plans and we were going to use those to drive traffic to your affiliate programs and everything else. And as a result of the apathy of the group as a whole, that I pulled the plug. I'm not making those payments anymore because I'm tired of coming out of pocket when it's not being used. I would much rather work with the folks who step up on a personal basis and help them build their business by doing what you guys just saw. So if you want help building your business, that's what I'm here for. Step up and start participating. If not, I'm perfectly happy to continue helping Ita and Jen and Sandy and Amanda, whoever shows up on these sessions. And I will hopefully, if any of you know of anybody who was affected over the weekend, please turn them onto my Facebook wall. I will be posting a link later on today about the grief relief group that we will do tonight at 8 o'clock. Meanwhile, you guys, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate both of you. And all of you that are watching, I appreciate you as well. And we'll talk to you tomorrow. Namaste.
Nice. Bye.